want to open by reiterating my original contention that if you want to solve the world's problems, one of the first things to do is erase all borders developed by the British Empire and its surveyors over the last several centuries. Borders, who's in charge on which side of a line, are the curse of the world. None of us are getting off this thing. We're all stuck on the same mud ball. And the idea that there's a solid half mile of landmines planted outside of the fence at Guantanamo Bay in Cuba to keep the crazed Cubans from overrunning our American military facilities is just flat insane. All right? And it's insane that we're still fighting over which side of a line some crazed Brit on the island who'd never been east of Suez decided was the border between Pakistan and Afghanistan, right through the middle of the Pashtun. I mean, all of these incidents are absurd enough, but now it's getting down to micro-weirdness. Hamas is essentially a regional, charitable, social services organization for the Palestinians, developed in a rather interesting independent manner from government because there's never been enough of a government to do any of the services. So the Hamas and various other groups within the Palestinian movement have taken over those functions. In Lebanon, it's the Hezbollah. In Hamas, in the Palestinian territories of occupied Israel, etc., etc. But the Hamas have done two things. One, they have taken advantage of the uber democracy that the Israelis and Americans forced them to accept, and they got themselves elected. Hamas is the majority in the Palestinian parliament, which then Israel and America, big pictures of democratic process, refused to recognize the result, pressured Europe and others to cut off aid and trade, and essentially tried to starve the Palestinians into submission and go back to dealing with the Fatah organization left over from the days of Yasser Arafat, which is arguably as crooked as any other long-time political party. Corruption was a problem. Well, Hamas got elected, and we refused to play with them. So now Hamas and Fatah have had a fight, and nobody said anything. They're just killing each other. Hey, Hamas just won. Gaza is now in their control. The remains of Fatah are being swept up and marched out of Gaza shirtless, which is a rather interesting symbol. That means that there's going to be this little teeny territory on the tip of Israel, bordering both the ocean, the Mediterranean, and Egypt, which has vacillating relations with the Hamas and other semi-radical organizations, being as how Egyptians aren't all that stable themselves in terms of their dictatorship. Oh, it's going to be complicated. But what happens inside this line that has been drawn that says, this is Israel and across the street is Gaza? And they are two different entities. Okay, what kind of an entity is that? We've had them before. Goa on the coast of India. Hong Kong on the tip of China. How about Monaco? There's a glowing example of microstates. or for that matter, Liechtenstein and Luxembourg. I mean, we're not exactly talking about vast empires of territory here. So Gaza could become an independent, officially neutral trade and contact point for the Palestinians' interests in the area. Totally autonomous and independent of anything that happens in either the West Bank and Israel or any place else around. Guaranteed perhaps by a United Nations peacekeeping force of 12 people who man the gate. Whatever it is, things just changed seriously in the core problem of the Middle East. And we better get ready to start to begin to think about dealing with it.
This film was made by a black fucking commie. He should be arrested.